years have passed. 5 summers with the length of 5 long winters. And again I hear these waters rolling from their mountain springs with a soft inland murmur. Once again do I behold these steep and lofty cliffs that on a wild, secluded scene impress thoughts of more deep seclusion and connect the landscape with the quiet of the sky. The day is come when I again repose here under this dark sycamore and view these plots of cottage ground, these orchard tufts, which at this season with their unripe fruits are clad in one green hue and lose themselves mid groves and copses. Once again I see these hedgerows, hardly hedgerows, little lines of sportive wood run wild, these pastoral farms, green to the very door, and wreaths of smoke sent up in silence from among the trees, with some uncertain notice, as might seem, of vagrant dwellers in the houseless woods, or of some hermit's cave, where, by his fire, the hermit sits alone. In these opening lines, Wordsworth basically sets the scene. He describes a place he's revisiting for the first time in 5 years, and he reminds us of that with the repetition of again. So, from the beginning, at the same time as painting a picture of the scene with his words, Wordsworth involves himself in that scene, hearing the sound of the mountain springs, beholding the cliffs, reposing under a sycamore tree, viewing the cottages and the plots of land around them, and seeing the hedgerows, the farms, and the smoke rising here and there in the houseless woods. There's a strong sense of the visual here, of what the poet beholds and views and sees. But he also engages the sense of hearing, using it to create an atmosphere of peacefulness. The sound of the mountain springs is a soft murmur. The sky is quiet. The smoke rises in silence. But that sense of quiet peacefulness, reinforced by the fact that the poet reposes, rests under a tree, is counterbalanced by the lively activity of the rural scene. The waters of the spring are rolling. The scene is wild. The cliffs connect the land and the sky. The fruits are clad in green and lose themselves among the trees. The hedgerows run wild. The smoke is sent up. There's a lot going on. But all this activity takes place in seclusion. Wordsworth, like the hermit he imagines sitting in his cave, is alone. That together, this opening section of the poem expresses the poet's deep feeling of relief at being, after a gap of several years, once again away from human society, immersed in the world of nature, in which he finds a wealth of lively activity. But of course, there are other people in this picture. We can't see them, or at least Wordsworth doesn't mention them, but they must be there. And, explicitly indicative of human activity, there's the uncertain signal of the smoke. Wordsworth can only speculate about the origin of the smoke, perhaps a hermit alone in the woods by choice, or perhaps homeless vagrants. Modern criticism, with its emphasis on the historical and political context of literature, makes much of those vagrants. It's easy to suppose that in his imagined hermit, Wordsworth sees a kindred spirit, one who, like himself, seeks out the peacefulness of nature as a place in which to develop the spirit. But the vagrants open up more complex and in some ways more interesting lines of thought. In reality, the smoke would almost certainly have come from charcoal burning, but the area was also well known for vagrants. William Gilpin, in his Observations on the River Wye, published in 1782, but describing a visit made in 1770, talks about the poverty and wretchedness of vagrants living in the ruins of the abbey itself, and numerous critics, Damien Walford Davies, Marjorie Levinson, Kenneth Johnston, Quentin Bailey, Robert Brinkley, David Chandler and others have written about the political and ideological implications of Wordsworth's allusion to homeless vagrants in the woods near the Abbey, speculating on possible allusions to Milton and the Civil War, or to Shakespeare and King Lear, and to Britain's wars with France. But generally coming back to the idea that the vagrants, like the hermit, form a part of Wordsworth's image of himself, that he saw himself as part hermit, part vagrant in relation to the society in which he lived.